Hello and welcome to the Elara and Freddo podcast. This is our first time doing this, so apologies in advance if it's completely all over the place. Everybody already knows who I am, so Freddo, my co-host, do you want to tell everyone a bit about yourself?
I am the Freddo. I'll probably be the one who says very controversial things. I have been playing the Elder Scrolls Online since very early 2017, and I like Ultima. That's about it.
Okay, and today we have a guest, Nordenheim. Nordenheim, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi, yes, I'm Nordenheim. I'm pretty new to the game. I only joined in February, and it was the housing that swayed me away from another game that shall not be named. I'm Norwegian despite my voice, and I also work as a freelance illustrator.
Very nice. Okay, so we asked on Twitter, Discord and YouTube what problems people have with housing in ESO. So we're going to talk about the main points raised. So the first one, which is probably kind of like the elephant in the room, really, everyone knows it's coming, so I'm just going to get it over with and bring it up first, which is the item limits. So what do you guys have to say about the item limits in ESO?
Do you want to start, Freddo?
Yeah, actually, I was going to mention this, because I have been thinking about it as well, and it's good that Nordenheim's here, because we did have a discussion about this a couple of weeks ago, if I remember clearly, and it was about the different console ones as well. Now, the item limit is definitely a problem, but I think another part of it is also the fact that it's ESO has to cater for now old gen and new gen, and old gen will obviously hold it back. I don't know how it works, and I think it's probably possible for them to give PC players a much bigger item slot than the console players. But then again, I don't know how game design works. It has to be the exact same game or whatever.
And
that's
also, yeah, I think if the PC people have more than console players, I think that will cause a bit of a stir.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's not game breaking or anything, but I do think that it will cause a bit of a stir if that was to happen. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, I already know there's people who are a bit miffed about people having housing add-ons, but we'll get into further detail about that later. But yeah, I do think that item limit should be increased. I will say, I know the Grand Acidic Villa is one of the contents, but I think the biggest one now is Panther Fang. But me personally, I've pretty much furnished a lot of my Acidic Villa, so it is possible. But I won't lie, it is a pain in the arse.
Overall, Nordenheim had to say our item
what do you think
I'll bring
about
up some of the comments that people made as well.
Well, I think, so one of the things is they keep releasing all these new homes, right, which are fantastic. They look incredible. But first of all, they've got both inside and outdoors areas. And these spaces are getting bigger and bigger, so they're more and more difficult to furnish. But then we're starting to get homes now, like Panther Fang Chapel, or like the new one that's on the PTS at the moment. I can't remember the name of it right now. Cascades or something?
Oh, Sweetwater Cascades.
Yeah.
That's it. Where there's multiple indoor buildings as well as an outdoor area. And it's like the space that we're being given to furnish is just increasing house after house, but the item limit isn't reflecting that. And I think that's the problem I have with it. I'd almost prefer it if they released slightly smaller homes with the same item limit, so that you're able to do more with the space.
Yeah, because right now we're only getting one like smaller one, like Eleanor, the Eleanor one house in Eleanor, the one we got for free in the Elsewhere main quest, Proud Spire, and was there one in Blackwood? Oh yeah, the one on the bridge. Yeah, the one on the bridge.
Yeah, Water's Edge.
I think they should release more of those smaller ones. I'd really like the nice little house, like nice little tribal type house in the Reach. I think that would be cool.
People have been bringing this up for a really long time. people are saying, why can't we have separate limits for the inside and outside of homes and have them instanced, so you have a load screen when you go through a door? Because they can't increase it above 700, could they not have it so that when you're outside in the garden, that's 700, and then you have a load screen into the house and have that house 700 as well?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so to play devil's advocate, the what I can see being a reason for that is that perhaps it's to do with the load times, because obviously when you're going into a house for the first time, the load screen can take quite a while, and I'm wondering whether that's because it's actually loading up all of the assets inside the house. So I'm wondering if the result of that would be if it was separate load times, separate furnishing limits for inside and outside, whether we just end up with then two very long loading screens in between.
But would you be happy with an extra long loading screen if you could use
I personally
double the
would.
items?
I personally would. I'd be very happy. But you can't guarantee that everyone would be as happy. For example, some people might want to put crafting stations inside, and if they do that, it's a little bit annoying if they've got an extra long load screen to get to the crafting stations.
Maybe they could have it so that you could have either, and you pay a little bit more to have the load screen in your house, and then people would be happy because they wouldn't have
the problem with that is I've seen stuff before where people get infinite loading screens, they have a lot of shit in their house, so that could probably be a big problem as well.
That's another thing. I don't know if anybody remembers, a long time ago I did a test on a video on YouTube where this is another thing actually people have brought up. So there's a limit that you can have, and it's a number, but then Bethesda also bought out Fallout. It's the same company, and instead of having a number, they had a bar.
Well,
which went up a tiny bit for small items and a lot for items that were animated and such, because
different development company. ZeniMax and Bethesda, while owned by the same umbrella, those companies don't. From what we know, the only communication between the Bethesda the people who make Skyrim, Fallout stuff, and ZeniMax is the law department. That's all from what we know. So
yeah,
I don't think there's much connection there.
If you think about the fact that if you put 700 spoons in a house, you're going to go in there and have 100 FPS and be fine, but if you put 700 fountains in a house, you're obviously going to have issues.
Yeah, because that's different particle effects and stuff as well.
Exactly. So I feel like maybe you should be able to put 10 spoons per one fountain, for instance.
It would make sense in the sense of trying to make sure it's more balanced and that you haven't got certain homes that almost crash computers. That said, I'd worry that the effect of them changing to a system like that wouldn't increase the item slots by that much, and instead would limit the number of larger items we could use. Because they could end up then saying upping the furnishing limit to say 800. But if they upped it to 800 and then they said a fountain is 10 furnishing slots, then we'd end up with less capability than we do have at the moment.
Yeah, and there would literally be no point to the furnishing increase then at all.
That's true. Somebody else said, if we can have 700 items in the larger houses and that's the limit, why can't we have higher item limits for the smaller houses? Like in rooms, for instance, which have an crazy small item limit that makes them pretty much impossible to do anything with.
And I totally wish this was the case. As you know, with my recent build, the casino, I found myself wishing I could have like another 100 items. It was only a medium house, but there's so much. Even then, I managed to fill the space, and I still had more that I needed to add. But it was more like little details, like being able to put out a bunch of bottles, little things, and I just couldn't do it because there weren't enough furnishing slots. I think it would be great if we could have like smaller homes with larger item limits. I just don't see it happening.
It's quite weird because you have houses like Cliffshade or Grimheart's Woe, which are like medium houses, but they don't have a garden, and you can decorate the hell out of them and you still have slots left. Like, you struggle to think like,
That's
oh,
true.
I've still got all of these slots left. Where do I put them? And then you have medium houses that are huge, like the one in Elsewhere. What's it called?
Oh, Moonsugar Meadow?
Not Moonsugar. The house. I can't remember what it's called now. It's a medium house, and it's huge, and you can build out really far as well. What's that?
Hall of Luna.
Not the Hall of Luna. It's the smaller Elsewhere house, the one that people complained about because the walls were mouldy.
I don't know.
You're not talking about Sleek Creek, but you're talking about the larger version.
Lucky Cat Landing.
Oh, Lucky Cat Landing, of course.
Lucky Cat Landing is huge, and if you think about it, you can build out for miles. Think about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
how
the one
that's got the
central.
same item limit as Cliffshade. How
Yeah,
is
it's
that?
a little bit bonkers.
Like, it makes zero sense.
I guess that they're experimenting between houses. That's all I can imagine is they're playing around with what they can actually do.
I feel like maybe they should have more categories. Somebody brought that up actually. I don't have that on my Google Doc, but somebody on YouTube, if you look in my comments, said something about, on the community tab, something about how they feel like there should be more categories. I think it was Paul Churchill. Paul Churchill said something about that, how there should be more categories.
Yeah.
It would make sense.
I think something that you could do is because we've obviously got the limits of 10 like mounts and pets. I think something interesting you could do is say you want to have another pet or mount, and you go, if you do that, then you trade off this item slot, so you have one less of that one and add on to that one. I don't know how possible that would be, but that could also be something they could try.
Yeah.
I think that one thing I wonder is how we're able to have so many of the, like the achievement furnishings, the busts and the trophies.
Yeah.
And what do they not count as assets in the same way as the other furnishings?
Can we not just swap them?
Could there not be a universal limit where you're able to use those furnishing slots for trophies?
That's a good point. Can we not have an 800 limit and then be able to add those things as well?
Because I don't think it's just the trophies. I think it's also like the I think the singing wall, the painting from Southern Elsewhere, those and the model Morrind also count as those types of furnishings as well. So I don't know what the difference is between those. Honestly, I really don't see one.
On the flip side, I was watching someone on stream the other day, and they were trying to put some more trophies on the wall, and they couldn't actually put the trophy on the wall because they'd run out of trophy furnishing slots. And on the flip side, they were like, well, why can't I just have fewer traditional furnishings and be able to put all my trophies up? Why do I have to limit them?
What I think is so annoying, I've always been annoyed by this since the very start of housing when it comes to item limits, is lore books. Like, I would love to have a library where I could have all of my lore books displayed, but if I did that, it would use up all 700 of my limit. It's so annoying.
You almost want it to be like one of those furnishings that that kind of updates the more that you read.
Or like, we get those like stack of books. Can we not get a stack? So when you collect all of your lore books, can you not just unlock like a stack of books that's one item and put them on the shelf like you can with the stack you buy from the Crown store, because apparently you can't buy them or craft them. So like, if you were to get them and put them on your thing, and then each one you focus on would be a different lore book, that would be great if it was one item for each like section. I'd love that.
That would be great. Like, you mean like pairing all the Daedric books together, etc.?
Yeah, exactly. So they're just like a big long stack of books, and you could put them on a bookcase and read them all. That would be great. Love it.
The lore nerd in me would absolutely love that.
Yeah, the book nerd in me would love that. I'm just going to read 2 comments that I put here from people about the item limit before we move on, and if anyone wants to say anything about it. So we've got one from Bly. She said, obviously space slots in houses are a massive issue. Personally, I'm very curious as to why the suggestion of making inside and outside have their own space allocation has never been covered by ZOS, as to any reason why it may not be possible. We just talked about that actually, didn't we?
Yeah, we talked about that.
And it's interesting that they haven't addressed it even, because Like there probably is an explanation for why, but it would just be interesting to get that answer from Zos.
It took them years to tell us why about the item limits, to be fair. We've been asking it for it since Homestead was on PTS, and they literally only told us last year or something. And Bly also said, and if there is no way of increasing the slots, make some of them still 350/700 spaces, but smaller building plots. So I guess she means if we have Cold Harbour real estate, but a small, tiny little field to build on, which would be so cute. I'd love that.
I would absolutely love a smaller home with lots of furnishing. I've got this image of a cottage in my mind that I really want to build, but there aren't really any homes that fit it at the moment.
Can you imagine if we got a tiny little building plot with a little river running through it? Oh, it'd be so cute. I'd love it so much.
I have to admit, though, it does sound a little bit like Animal Crossing, though.
Oh, yeah, but that's fine. And Joshua Michael said, I understand the hard 700 limit. What I don't understand is why they won't even raise the cap on the lower houses. This is something we've already talked about as well. Even a small increase of 25% or so for in-rooms and medium houses would be great.
Because 30 items seems balmy when you think about it.
Yeah, for the in-rooms,
that's nothing.
Ridiculous. We had an in-room contest once, and it was a nightmare. People struggled so much with it. Especially with the new, bigger in-rooms. Why have they made the new in-rooms bigger when you literally can't fit anything inside them? There's one, which one is it? The one in Somerset, which is really tall.
Oh, you're talking about the Eleanor one.
Yeah, you could have
so tall.
You could have 3 floors in there if you wanted to, but you can't do anything with them.
The thing is, it's such an awkward shape for a room as well, that it's... Because I've tried playing around with building floors in that place, and because of the angle of the roof and everything, it's just really awkward. You end up with this almost like a triangular cuboid, whatever it's called, or a triangular prism of just space that you can't use for anything.
Do you know, I went on a revolt when housing first came out. I did.
Really?
Yes. So housing first came out and I refused to buy a house because the item limit, because of some of the bigger houses, like Daggerfall Overlook, for instance. I was and this is what makes me laugh now, because we're having houses like Panther Fan come out. But back then...
And Daggerfall is tiny in comparison.
Exactly. And I refused to buy any houses because I was so angry about the item limit. So I literally only decorated in rooms. So my first photos and stuff of all of my houses on live are all of in rooms, and they were so hard to decorate with 30 items. It was crazy.
That said, I think it's great to share what you can do within rooms, though, because I think there are a lot of people who come into the ESO community, and then they get housing, they don't think much of it, and they think that there's not very much you can do with a little room. So it is good to be able to showcase what you can do in these.
Yeah, people have done amazing
rooms.
things. Some people have done really amazing things within rooms with just 15 items. It's great. So yeah, are we ready to move on to the next topic?
Yeah, we should.
Okay, Freddo?
Right. So I said a couple of earlier. Add-ons like Port of Friends and some features of EHT rather, not ETT, to be base game, especially for the console players, which Son brought up earlier, which I've seen console players back when we talked about Ultimate Limits, being already a bit peeved or pissed off that they can't have features that PC players like us get with EHT and Port of Friends. So, what do you think of that, Elara?
Okay, well, I actually got a message from somebody about this, so I'm just going to read that because I think she sums it up completely perfectly. So she said, "Hi, I think having to select a guild hall as a primary residence," this person's on console, just keep that in mind, "having to select a guild hall as a primary residence so guild members can travel is annoying when I have actual homes that are furnished too, that I would prefer to have selected as my primary. It's not a huge issue and it won't apply to everyone. Not everyone makes a guild house/hall. But I think it would be great to have an option in guild menu to select Guildhall specifically. That way us furnishers can have a favourite home selected rather than stuck with Guildhouse. So basically, this is what they have on console. So this girl has a guild. So she has to set her primary as Guildhall constantly, and nobody can travel to people's houses on console unless it's set to their primary. But as a guild leader, she has to have her Guildhall set as primary, so nobody ever sees her houses. Can you imagine that? Being on PC, that's not something we have to deal with, but that must be really tough.
Yeah, that sounds like a pain in the arse.
Even when you're not a guild leader, can you imagine only being able to have one house that people can visit? Like, it's just shit, really. So things, I do believe Port to Friends house should be something that we have in game. We should be able to maybe have a drop down, like you click on someone visit house, a drop down menu, and pick which one. It has all of the houses that they have open there, because it's just shit for console players. I feel bad for them not having Port to Friends, more than EHT, because a lot of PC people don't use EHT either. But
I don't personally.
Port to Friends, I think, is an important one.
I think Port to Friends is 100% of things I should do, because I think also for people who don't like add-ons, there are people out there who really don't like messing with add-ons, which is fair, and I think Port to Friends is a really good thing. I don't really see a reason why not to have it, honestly. It's like, it's not a bad thing at all. I generally, I just think they should have it, because I don't see a negative analysis at all. Anyway.
Aldenheim, what do you think about it?
I completely agree that they need to make it base game, because I'm the GM of a guild as well, and most of the players in my guild don't use EHT or Housing Hub, because my guild isn't housing focused, and I think if you're not focused on housing, you don't think that those add-ons would be useful to you. But having Housing Hub, like EHT Lights, just for the ability to travel to other people's houses, is so great to be able to see not just their primary, but also in Housing Hub, you're able to set a little note on the guild's about section, and you can put the guild hall and make it so that your players can literally just press 2 keys to travel to an assigned guild hall. And I don't understand why that couldn't be a feature where you assign a guild hall to a guild and have it separate from your primary residence.
Oh, definitely. You should be able to, if you own a guild, there should be like a thing there in the guild page, like guild hall.
Exactly. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
The guild that all guild members can travel to. It does make much more sense. And
Zos know that guild halls are a thing now and have been a thing for a long time. Even if they're officially personal homes, they know that they're used as guild halls regularly. And
another thing, which isn't really related to this topic, but is something that's annoyed me before, why can't we have storage chests and click on them and say, anyone in my guild can use this chest?
Oh, 100%.
That pisses me off. That's so annoying. Because sometimes you don't want to give everyone access to your bank, which I understand because we had our bank raided.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if you want people in your guild to be able to take stuff they want, you should have a chest, and you could just be like, anyone can in my guild or anyone can take stuff from this chest. I feel like storage chests should have that option.
Absolutely. And I think I found it especially bizarre that we can't use the storage chests in other people's homes when we've bought the exact same storage chests for our own homes. Because I just assumed, like, it's like going to a merchant or to a banking assistant, like, that you could use it like it was your own. And I thought, if I bought it, then I should be able to use it in someone else's home.
Oh, definitely. That's actually a really good point. We should be able to use our own. We should be able to access our own. That's true.
I mean, we can access our own bank in people's houses, so I don't know why we can't. Storage chest.
Exactly. It should be roughly the same system, to be honest.
Yeah, it should be. The keyword is should be.
I do think some add-ons, some of them are maybe things that Zos might not want to implement, but things that people on PC use anyway and find really helpful, such as sky shards. And I feel like maybe if one of your characters has collected a sky shard before, maybe that should be on the map. Because right now it's only there if you get close to it, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like that's a good compromise, because I get they sort of want it to be a sort of hidden collectible, but I think
if
they
you've
want to
already
keep
found
it like
before, that. Because I know this is really nerdy, but when ESO first came out, me and my, you know, when you go on the, most people probably don't even know this actually, but when you go onto the Sky Shards thing, it gives you a little riddle.
Yeah, it gives you a little, yeah.
It's a little riddle about where the Sky Shard is, and me and my best friend, when we started playing ESO together, we fucking loved solving them. We used to go around everywhere trying to find all of the Sky Shards together. We enjoyed it so much. It was so much fun for us. So I wouldn't, but like after you found it the first time, you don't want to have to go through having to find them all again. So that's something we have that they don't. Also things like, well, I don't know, we've got loads of add-ons, haven't we, on PC that we take for granted and people on console don't have. But I do think port to friends in terms of housing is a really important one.
I mean, there's some things I get why technological differences between console stuff, and I get at the end of the day, we're not the game developers. We don't know what the code and stuff is behind all this stuff. But if an add-on can do it, then I don't see why ZOS can't do it.
Shit. Like, I'm gonna actually keep pushing this because I don't like the fact that poor Emma Harris over here has to put up with not ever having anyone go to her houses because she has to have it set as a guild hall in a housing guild. That's shit. So
that is actually because she's not able to cycle through. Because that's true in the housing guild. If there's a guild specific for housing, and I guess everyone else is having to regularly change their primary residence to show off another house, but then that means you can't visit.
And
so say you've
she's
seen
the guild leader, and nobody can see any of her houses.
It's definitely like I can imagine for console people, it's a pain in the ass.
I'm going to keep bitching about this.
Love it.
Right, shall we move on?
Yeah, okay, so the next one is lack of basic furnishing, some of which have been in the game since launch, such as weapons, armour for homes, red guard structural items that are crown only, and I'm just bringing up this point for one person, Magic 8 Ball, who's in our Discord. He's very upset about this and has been brought at us numerous times, and it's the fact that we have an incomplete Clockwork crafting station set, because he wants to have all of the Clockwork crafting station sets match in his house, and he can't.
I can hear the poor guy's bank account crying.
Yeah, but he wants a clock. If he wants like a whole proper set, you can't have it because they don't have all of the Clockwork crafting stations available.
Oh yeah, like that's taking the Elder Scrolls
weird
example.
And they're in the game, so why can we not have the rest of the Clockwork stuff? But yeah, lack of basic furnishings, things around. So what do you guys think about that?
It's definitely weird. Like, there's lots of things I see that that would be a cool furnishing. Like, example, there's one really cool female mage pile statue you can find at the front of the werewolf delve in the Somerset chapter, which is something I really want. Weapon and armor racks. Like, when I first played ESO and I became a crafter, I always wanted to have like my first original idea was to have like a room just in the basement of my Daggerfall Overlook that was just full of like armor stands of rare motifs and rare weapon motifs and stuff, just to show off how much rare stuff I have.
Can you imagine if we got the motifs as a book? That would be awesome. Sorry, carry on.
It's an interesting to do that, but I definitely think it's definitely something I should look into. Weapons and armor racks, like you look at Skyrim, Lakeview Manor. A lot of people use the armory room and just display all the rare stuff, Clavicus Mask, Melagmel's Mace, etc. That'd be cool. Have a room where you can display rare like outfit pages, not just motifs, like outfit pages, like the new old Orsinian weapon styles that have come out right now in the year one event. Rare motifs like Ancestral Akaviri, the new Blackwood stuff. Maybe even like the antiquities, like Bloodlord's Embrace, whatever it's called, like those. But yeah, go ahead, Norman.
I was just going to say it would make so much sense to be able to have some sort of almost like a tailor's mannequin where you could display armor sets, or have like a weapon stand, like the wall-mounted weapon stands you could get, where you'd be able to display, I don't know, maybe 5 weapons of your choice. I feel like those little touches would just add so much to a home. And while we're on the topic of things that I think we should have added that do exist in game, I think it's crazy that we don't have target dummies that are actually target dummies. That we have to stick to these skeletons, because let's be honest, if I've got a really cute place or a really pretty place or somewhere that's stunning, I don't want a random skeleton just sitting in the middle of it chilling. Like,
I've said this before, like, I am so annoyed that we don't just have one of those. Do you know when you walk around in the world and you go outside of a fighters guild and you see these like cute little sack target dummies and like an archery targets?
They literally exist in game.
Yeah, they're so cute. I just want them in my house. Like, if you're practicing fighting, why the fuck are you doing it on this weird skeleton that makes 0 sense to be in your house?
Exactly. Not every character is a necromancer.
Yeah. And also, it makes 0 sense for it. We're like warriors. We go out there and fight and kill stuff. Why do we not have fucking weapons in our house? What the hell? Or like armor. Surely we would have armor, or at least clothes in our house. I mean, it was a step forward having socks, but it's not.
I mean,
Socks.
I will admit that the socks made me very happy when they were released. But it just made me think, but why haven't we got more?
Exactly. It makes 0 sense. Like, why do you have no clothes or armor or weapons in your house?
And one thing I have to add, and it's not necessarily a basic furnishing, it's just something that I found really frustrating, is the fact that we can't get an easel with a traditional paintbrush palette as a furnishing. They exist, they're dotted around all of Tamriel. We've seen them everywhere. We even have an easel as a memento. So the model exists as a standalone model, and I wish they just add that as a furnishing item.
We've got the palette as well. So what you going to paint on? They gave the palette like a year ago. We're just like, here, have this palette. I don't know what you're going to use it for, but
but that wasn't even the palette, like a traditional palette that they've got out in the world already. Like, I mean, I like it, and it's a good. I've used it in lots of homes because it's better than not having a palette. But I do wish we could get the traditional artist's palette. The wooden one where you've got a little thumb hold. Yeah.
We should have wood and everything. Like, we've got all of these cool things like looms as well now. Like spinning wheels, and they're all fucking clockwork, like golden colour. Why can't we have them in wood? So they actually fit the rest of the world.
Exactly. But I think you and I are both more interested in the kind of cottagecore aesthetic.
Yes. Freddo, do you want to start with the next topic?
Well, basic Redguard stuff. Yeah, basic Redguard stuff.
The next is number 4.
Oh yeah, but we're going to talk about the basic. I'm going to go over the Redguard bit quickly. I don't understand why they have the Redguard stuff as crown only. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, it doesn't make. You're talking about like the wall with a fence on it, right?
Yeah, all of the Redguard structural stuff is only crown only, and it's expensive for crowns as well. Yeah.
Like, I'd get if it was crown exclusive for a limited time. So I'd get it if, say, it was with a new expansion, and certain furnishings, like I'm expecting some of the new Leyawind structural furnishings are probably, unfortunately, going to be crown only. But there should be like a timeout period where once they've been crown only for, I don't know, whether it's maybe 2 years or something, 1 year, 2 years, that they then release them as like items, furnishings that you can create or craft using like furnishing patterns from the Rit vendor.
I feel like the problem with it now is they've charged so much. Like, it's not just a small amount, it's like 340 gold each, not gold, crowns each per red card wall, which means if someone wants to build a house with it, they've spent an insane amount of money.
Oh, it's just not an option.
Yeah, but some people have. So if they make them craftable now, they're going to get in shit. But
Okay.
I feel like the red guard wall has this big fence on it, doesn't it? So can they not bring it out taller without the fence and make it craftable? Because it's weird how if we want to make a red guard style house, every single item that we want to get is crown only. It's so weird. Red guard fountains, red guard fences, red guard walls, like all of them are crown only. Why?
Yeah, it is balmy.
Strange.
Yeah, maybe we'll probably get more ones when the eventual Hammerfell expansion releases, which I think Hammerfell. It's either going to be Hammerfell or Morrowind next year.
I hope it's red guard, because the red guard stuff's beautiful. I hope it is.
I think they're probably due an expansion.
Yeah, they from what I remember, they're the ones who have gone the longest race without an expansion. That's not counting Bretons or Wood Elves, because they have all of Valenwood and High Rock's already been filled out, so they're not
Although,
counted.
to be fair, like Breton and Wood Elf have a shit kind of choice between furnishings. So I do.
Yeah, but the problem is Bretons are crap, but Wood Elves are interesting. But Wood Elves
No, they're not.
Oh, controversial opinions here,
Freddo.
Freddo.
I'm a Breton. What are you
I
saying?
said I had controversial opinions. I'm sorry, but
I'm
I just
a
think
Breton, Freddo.
I find Bretons so boring. I don't know why
But do
people
you not-
like them.
Do you
They're
not
boring.
think that might be because they're based on effectively British people? Like, that's
be.
very much what they're based on. And
Yeah,
all
yeah.
three of us are from the UK. I mean, I know I'm Norwegian, but still.
Yeah, I mean,
I
you
don't
put up
find
a fair
Bretons
point.
boring at all. I love them. Elara's Breton, and she's very happy with it.
Yeah, that's my opinion. But I mean, I say that, but Wood Elves could have a Fenalisty DLC one day.
That would be interesting.
Wood Elf stuff is, do you know what, it's so outdated now. All of the textures on it are terrible.
Bone. Which is like a bone.
Yeah, so Freddo?
Bones. Yeah, okay.
Point 4?
Okay, so house and furnishing material cost / rarity. Prone exclusive homes and furnishings are often too expensive for what they are, and materials take too long to farm, and so are priced too highly on guild traders, meaning that not only do homes cost a huge amount of real money, but furnishing requires you to be rich in game and often have millions of gold to spare. This is my another controversial opinion. I don't really mind grinding, and this comes from the person who got his Heart of Azeroth up to level 80 plus in BFA, so you can... While players play, I'm not drunk. I'm just saying, while players who understand that know that I'm obviously a person that doesn't really care about grinding, because that is very much ours. But
Yeah,
what do
so
you
this
think?
is the thing though. The problem is, you don't find much of a problem in grinding, but a lot of people don't have time to do that.
Mm.
And on top of
So,
that, it's more of an issue on PC with the prices, because generally on PC servers prices are becoming increasingly inflated, whereas you'd find that the exact same items on, for example, Xbox or PS4 servers, they aren't even nearly as expensive. And I think
thought
that's
they
a
were more
dual
expensive.
issue there.
Well, aren't they more expensive though? I was told they were more expensive on console.
Okay, we have different sources of information. Clearly, I may be wrong. I thought that they were less expensive, but maybe I'm wrong.
I was told that materials were much more expensive to buy on console.
Okay,
But
so
I
may
don't
be
know
wrong.
how it is now, because that was over a year ago. So
But either way, the materials are definitely getting priced too highly, and it's unrealistic being able to craft everything these days, because the prices, regardless of whether you're playing on PC or console, the prices have been increasing year on year, to the point that new players now have very little chance to be able to actually afford to buy, well, for one thing, to be able to get all the furnishing recipes that they need, but also to be able to afford the materials for those recipes.
yeah, It's much easier for people that have been doing it a long time. But
Inflation.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the comments first this time, because last time they already referred to everything. So this is another one from Bly. Also, I cannot justify the cost in crowns to buy these new houses, which makes me sad. I have a few, but they have all been bought either as birthday, Xmas, Mother's Day presents from my kids. I have literally been subbed since launch with no breaks. I would love to see some new houses available for gold. I think Zos owe us that much. I'm totally fine with them being unfurnished too.
I completely agree. I think I understand that at the end of the day, Zos are a business and they need to be making money from ESO, and the Crown Store is a hugely lucrative way to be able to make money. It's in fact it's a lot more lucrative than the subscription-based system where, like World of Warcraft, where you'd have to pay X amount per month. Because if you look at the Crown prices, what people are actually spending on things for the game, whether it's mounts or houses, it's far more than they'd spend on a monthly subscription. That's
what I feel though is I don't buy these houses. I am obsessed with houses, and I have been for years since it came out. But I've only ever bought how many? 1, 2. I think I've bought 3 exclusive houses. That's it. I don't buy them because they cost too much, and I look at them and I think, oh, fuck that shit. You're gonna charge me £100 to buy a house? Fuck that. I don't get them most of the time. Unless I really love them, I don't buy them. Because they charge way too much. It's like literally you're not buying anything. It's a digital thing. And I feel like sometimes when it's like 150 quid for a house in a game, I'm like, fucking screw that, I don't buy it.
Yeah, which is why I think that the system of being able to purchase it with crowns, but also being able to unlock a house through doing certain quests or do certain achievements or whatever, and then be able to buy it with gold, I like that system better, because it means if you really want a house, you can get it without spending money on crowns to get it. But then the option is there for people who just want to buy it and not fuss with it. They can just get it there and then.
Yeah, but then
the problem for
you
me
could also
as well. Sorry, Freddo. The problem for me as well is that these huge houses that cost too much, I don't usually want them anyway, because I know for a fact that I can't decorate them because of the item limit. So it's not a loss to me that I can't spend that much money on them. But I do wish that they would make it cheaper, because some people do love them and they can't buy them, and it's ridiculous. Or like Blythe said, make some of them available for gold.
I feel like...
Sorry. Sorry. I know that we can buy gold for crowns now, because people... we can now buy stuff for crowns. But I don't know how it is on console right now, but on PC, the price for crowns in gold is insane.
Oh, it absolutely is.
It's gone so high now that
what is it now?
Most people that I know won't even spend the money on it. So I don't know how they're even making money. Like the odd person I'll tell you how much it is. Actually, I've got Discord open.
I'm scared.
I will admit that I have traded crowns for gold for these extortionate prices, but looking at it, I didn't realise how little that it was before, and the inflation's ridiculous.
Yeah, I won't buy it because of the inflation now. Right, let's see how much. So on PCE right now, they're selling for... Oh, it's gone down a bit actually. 1,450 gold per crown. I know that sounds loads, but wait there. If I go up a while, it was like something like 300. It was like something like 3,000 a while ago.
Yeah, I know it was a lot more, but still, it used to be way.
It used to be like 400. Wait there.
Yeah.
We can actually see what it is on console. Wait there. On console, they're selling it for 100 per crown on console.
Yeah, so on
now.
console it's so much cheaper.
Yeah. On
for crowns.
console,
that's
console they're doing it alright. Yeah.
What is it in PCNA?
Okay, let me see.
PCNA is not as bad as PCEU for some reason.
PCNA
It's still
is
very high, but it's not as
right
bad as EU.
now,
Might be
500,
because,
600. Yeah, it's way better. They're like
Yeah.
1,000 cheaper than we are.
And wasn't it like 500, 600 only like 6 to 8 months ago on
I
EU?
bought a house less than 6 months ago for 450 per crown. So I don't know why it's gone up so
I think
crazy.
a part
it's
of
gone down,
it-
it's dropped a bit.
Probably a certain world event might be a part of it. Lots more people at home doing stuff.
It has,
I mean, there's also the elephant in the room, which is what we've all had to deal with over the past year and a half, which means that generally people have less disposable income and can't justify buying the crowns to sell in the first place.
Oh no, that's true. There's going to be less people getting crowns because
True.
people are having less money
Bloody bug.
because of COVID. Yeah.
But I do think that another contributing factor is because there's such risk of being scammed if you're trying to trade crowns for gold or gold for crowns using say zone chat or just in game. There's a huge chance of getting scammed out of your gold or your crowns. So there are these other servers that have been cropping up where you can trade
I've got
gold for
that.
crowns
I
and
don't
crowns for
use
gold safely, where you've got a middleman, and it's a lot safer. But then
Well,
what
I'm
that
on
means
one-
is
I'm
they
on
can
the-
decide what the prices are.
I'm on one of those websites. I'm on one of
Yeah.
those servers, World Crown Exchange, but they're really good actually. What they do is you post your
Not sponsored.
so they're our partner
No,
guild.
not sponsored for this
They're
video.
our partner guild. But basically what you do is you go onto the World Crown Exchange. You go to sell or buy crowns for either console or PC, and then what you do is when you make sure you take photos, screenshots, so that when you're making your trade, and then you can go and you can give somebody a review, which gives them a star. So when you're here, you can see people that have had reviews, and you know that they're safe, and you know that they've done it before. So it's a really good Discord. I would very much recommend World Exchange.
It's a good
and
system.
yeah, no sponsor, but they are our guild partner.
Yes, well, I'm sure we'll put Elara will put a Discord link in the description.
I'll put a
and
link. Yeah, I'll put a link.
we should probably put something about Nordenheim's guild in there as well.
Yeah, I'm going to put a link to Nordenheim's guild. Nordenheim, do you
But,
tell people about your guild halfway through the thing?
I think we'll wait till the end. We'll wait till
Yes,
the end.
we'll do that in the
Yeah,
outro because we're running out
Okay.
of time.
So, where are we? Oh yeah, wait there, I've got one more thing. Spellslinger made a comment about this. So this is from Spellslinger. She said the cost of furniture materials, which causes housing to have a huge barrier to entry.
Yeah, as we talked about before, inflation is a
yeah.
big problem.
So you
And-
have to basically farm for hours to get the materials you need or have lots of gold. So I feel like things like mundane runes and stuff are too rare.
Oh
And-
Jesus!
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my
Can I-
goodness.
let me say something first.
Yeah.
Me and Jack the Great 66, one of my friends, we were making because me and Elara went to go get Emperor, but that's another story. I'll probably talk about that in another podcast at some point. But what happened was me and Jack were making a throne, and we needed different things. So me and him kept on having to go out to guild traders and look for mundane runes, and they were so hard to find for a good price. Like Jack found a stack for like 1 million gold for like 100 of them.
It's
It was
crazy.
insanity.
They're too rare.
Eventually we got them,
It's
but
'cause they're too
yeah,
rare. So
they're too rare.
that's Zenimax, if you're watching. People cannot make houses in your game because you have made mundane runes like the fucking epic gold of the game. What the fuck, man? Like,
The mundane rune rush.
It
do
seems
you know what? I'm
so
making a little house
ridiculous.
right now. I'm making a little house right now in Cold Harbour. It's taken me ages and it's grim as fuck. So, look.
I
forward
think
to it.
something.
But do you know what? I have spent, I'm not even joking, I spent 3 million gold making that tiny house. And most of that gold has been spent on mundane runes and shimmering sand. What the hell?
Yeah. Which is, it's so ironic considering the name, because surely if they're mundane, you just expect them to be cheap. But yet they're the most expensive runes you can get.
I've heard an even I've heard something that's literally terrible, and it is when we were looking for these materials before that were too expensive, like in Somerset and elsewhere, we'd just do a couple of dailies every day and we'd get the materials. But now ZeniMax have decided to become even more fucking hard ass, and do you know what they've done? They've made it so that it's a chance to get it. You do your dailies and you've got a chance to get the material now. You're not even 100% guaranteed to get it. So when we used to get them, it used to be fine. You can go to Eleanor or you can go to elsewhere and you can get Shimmering Sand or whatever the other one is. But you cannot go to like Markarth or the new place and get your materials, because when you're doing dailies every day, you've only got a chance to get them, which is bullshit.
Yeah, that seems ridiculous. You should be able to
You should have
go to the location
chance.
you want to and have 100% chance to get that crafting material.
You should have 100% chance to get it. Why have they done that? Why have they done
Here's
that?
a tip. I'll give you all a tip
No
exclusive to the
wonder it's
podcast.
so expensive. Can you imagine the people farming that? I feel so fucking bad for them. They're just doing dailies over and over again.
Let's hear top tip, Freddo.
So, in the Venue Wars, you do sometimes get Crown Mimic Gems. What I do now is not 100% drop, but what I do those is I make like 100 like iron daggers or some shit of the rare material, once say Shimmering Sand, Blackwood, craft material, stuff like that, and deconstruct them. Now, it's not 100% chance, but it's a good chance you'll get
probably more than doing dailies.
So if you need your Arcthazand Sprockets or the Ivory Brigade clasps, that's a way to try to get them.
That's probably
you need a motif, obviously, like learn a motif, then make 100 like many iron shits as you can, or anything really, ribdye, ebony, whatever. It doesn't matter, and deconstruct them, and you should get more than less than. If you get less than, then tough shit. RNG gave you the middle finger. But if you got more, that's great. Thumbs up. That's just a top tip.
I wish that I'd heard that back when I first started, honestly. I only found out about this literally a couple of weeks ago from a friend of mine, Syndra. And before that, I had every single Crown Mimic Stone that I'd ever gotten from Crown Crates, for example. I had deconstructed into gems. And I can't even count how many of those I've deconstructed into gems, and I wish that I'd known about this months ago, because it would have made life a lot easier.
Yeah. I actually found, I didn't even think about deconstructing stuff. A while ago I was making like an elsewhere place, like a proper Khajiit place, and I was like, shit, I don't know what to do. Soris, he's the leader of Tamriel Homes, she told me, oh, you should like deconstruct all of this elsewhere stuff, and I didn't even think about it, and I did it, and I got everything I needed. So yeah, deconstruction is definitely a very valid way to get what you need.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I'd just like to touch on one point that we covered earlier, which was to do with the chests. And I think it ties into one little note that you've added here about furniture storage. I don't understand why we can't have an item that's specific for furniture storage, a sort of housing bank where you're able to deposit furnishings into this item.
We had a comment from Zos about this a while ago, but I'll bring that up later.
Okay, because I haven't heard that yet, because I was talking to my friend about it and how it would make sense to have that, not only in terms of being able to have more slots for storing stuff, but also when it comes to, for example, sometimes you want people to be able to decorate your house for you, whether you're commissioning them, whether it's a shared guild house, and the fact that you had the like one person is the only person who's allowed to place items out and put them away, makes it very difficult, because it means you have to arrange, right? So do we want 10 of these items, do we want 20 of these items, and you have to actually just dump them in the house to leave them for this other person to move around, whereas it would make sense to have some sort of a lockbox so that someone could decorate if you've given them decorator privileges.
I decorate houses
and then
for
put
people.
things away in that lockbox.
I decorate houses for people for gold quite often, and I have a problem with that pretty often.
It just makes sense, because otherwise decorator privileges only allow you to move things, and I get that the idea is they don't want people to be able to put them inside their own personal inventory, because then you'd be able to effectively steal from other people's houses. But if there was a separate house inventory, then you'd actually be able to just withdraw and deposit from that, meaning that there was no risk of theft.
I have a fair few things to say about this subject, but
okay,
we have it a little bit later. But first, the next the next thing, we have a few random things that people brought up, which the first one is elitism in housing.
Dear.
I know, it's a very touchy subject, and it could be offensive to people.
You have to
so basically,
somebody,
well, actually a couple of people, but they have not even made their comments public. This is how bad it is. They've PM'd me about it, because people don't want to, I don't know, there are certain people in housing that are very elitist, and wait there, I'm going to read this comment, I'm not going to say who it's from. Here we go to Discord. So, elitist societies within housing community, which hurts housing more than it helps. People talk trash about someone's work instead of giving solid concrete advice, tips, etc. That's all I can think of as the negatives, to be honest. So somebody said that was the only negative in housing.
And then it's a pretty big one. And so, it's a shame, because it really ruins the community for new houses.
It is, because when housing first came out, that community didn't exist. And it was really nice, and everybody was kind of cool and chill, and it was like the most chill place. And there has become that kind of community in housing now, where it has gone that way, where there are people that are acting like they're in PvP or trials, and they're competing against people, not just in like fun, friendly competitions, but in the way that they're literally dissing people and sending them horrible whispers and shit, like they would in PvP.
Yeah, and I think it's a shame, because it is very much the few who are ruining it for the many, because I don't think that sense of elitism is something that's rife within the whole community.
No, it doesn't represent the whole community.
No, there are lots of people who are, there are lots and lots of members of the community who are wonderful, who are just supportive and helpful. There are streamers who showcase houses and do a wonderful job showcasing them. Stabity Doom, for example, showcases homes and is just fantastic at making sure that they show everyone's homes. They don't just show the ones they think are incredible. They show just nicely decorated homes as well.
Yeah, that's true. Her streams are really nice. I love them.
So I think it's 100% the few that ruin it for the many.
Like, you don't want to have, like, it's shit. It's complete bollocks. Like, it's a game. This is what annoys me the most. Like, it's a game, and we're all here to have fun. And it's an MMO, so we're here to have a community together. So why are you bitching at people about where they decided to place a fucking mug in a virtual house? Like, just get over yourself, dudes. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of the same attitude as for example, when it comes to art, which is something hugely subjective.
It is. But in
But
a
people
way,
will also be super elitist about art and
that's true. The art
criticize other
community's
forms of
bad.
art.
Yeah, but I feel like the ESA stuff's worse than that because you don't get personal with that.
Oh, I think it does. I think if you look on any online social media platform, I can guarantee you there are artists. In fact, I saw a thread a little while ago on Twitter, and there was an artist, and they were literally a teenager, right? And they were like 14, 15,
Oh.
and they were still learning. All artists are continually learning, and yet they were getting hate for the way that they drew, whether it was their proportions or the way that they drew and whatnot. And I think it's that same sort of attitude of expecting everyone within a community to be up to X standard.
I've had
Whereas,
that actually. I've had that. I'm a part of a writing community, and I had somebody fucking bitch shit me as well. Actually. Oh
exactly,
my god! You didn't do this. You didn't do that. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
and it's like, if you're going to comment, first of all, I don't think that you should just offer random advice to people if they haven't asked for it, because if you're offering random advice, it's basically telling them, hi, I don't think that this is good, and I think you need to make it better.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's the intention,
don't give
that's how it
advice
comes
to
across.
anybody ever unless they ask for it. Never.
Exactly.
Don't give advice to people. If people ask you to come and see my house, you go and see it, and you be nice to them because they've spent a lot of their time and effort making this house, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine. But
Exactly.
unless they ask specifically you give me your opinion, don't fucking give it.
And on top of that, it's if someone asks you for advice or critique, it's also like, be kind and respectful with the way that you give it.
Think
like,
about
if they're asking for advice, they don't want you.
If someone said that to you, if someone said what you're saying to them to you, how the fuck would you feel if someone said to you, "You're fucking shit"? Because it's not nice, is it?
Exactly. It's yeah. You can you can word it differently. You could say, I think that this area would work a little bit better if maybe you consider doing this. Or what's even better than saying what your opinion is posing it as a question. What do you think about doing this? Would it work to maybe have one of these in this area? If you pose it as a question, then it kind of takes the onus off, I am an expert telling you how to do something, and it's more along the lines of, here's a thought that might not have crossed your mind, you know?
Yeah, that's really good advice, actually.
What do you think, Freddo?
What do you think about elitism?
Sounds lovely. I agree with most points. That it's a game. I think the very classic saying, if you don't have anything nice, don't say anything at all, stands. Don't be a dick, basically. That's all I can really say about it.
There's no excuse to be a dick to anyone, ever, really.
I mean, that's just good advice for life in general. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
You do, they do them. Do you
want to talk about the next part?
Yeah.
This is when you bought.
This is actually being able to mount in a house. I get some houses like inns and like Sleep Creek, but like Dagford Overlook or
the island.
Moonshadow, the island.
I want to ride my horse around that island.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I feel like some houses would definitely be better for that than others. I think the island would be incredible, and I think that's another example of where we could have separate categories. We could add a new category where certain houses actually allowed you to ride a mount in your own home.
I think it's not just for fun either. It's for like literal getting around the house. Like, oh my god, sometimes it's painful. Like, if you're in a big house and you're trying to decorate it and you've done something on the other side, you have to run for miles backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Like, just give us our fucking horse in a house. Like, press H and just ride. Like, why can't we ride our horse in a house? It makes no sense. I hate it that we can't ride our horses in a house. It's very annoying. What do
Yeah,
you guys-
and I mean, not even to mention, I know that in our guild we have a few role players, and the number of people who role play in these houses, I'm sure that they're crying out for the ability to be able to ride a mount inside some of these homes, because you want to be able to yeah, you might want to be able to be a knight that rides in on their horse. Like I know that they would. I think feel quite confident in saying that the role playing community would love being able to have mounts that you could actually ride inside a home.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd definitely be cool.
There's several reasons for it. Like, just let us mount in houses. Like, there's so many reasons that we could literally talk about it for hours. There's so many reasons.
Yeah, like I put out the point that when we're making points stuff for the podcast, that it would be cool to have mounts. Then you could do that, maybe like a horse race, like make a track in Moonsugar Meadow, make a track and do a horse race. I think that'd be pretty cool. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. Can you imagine having horse races in a house?
It would be amazing. I do have to mention there is someone in the housing community on EU has actually built a racetrack, not for horses but for cats.
Let us know so everyone can go to the house.
I have a feeling, I might be wrong, but I have a feeling it might be Lovathy, who's made a lot of amazing builds. I think it's their Hall of the Lunar champion.
Okay.
Because I visited it once and it was incredible. They had griffins flying around, and what they'd done is they'd built, there's like that small house that looks a little bit like Sleek Creek on the left-hand side. Well, they'd actually built out over the ledge and built an entire like racetrack course down below.
Cool.
Terraformed it, and then they picked, I think it was like 3 or 4 like kitten pets, and they had them pathed to run around the racetrack.
That's awesome. I love
it. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I can't remember for sure who it was. I think it might have been Lovathy, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments.
Okay. So, I'll bring up the next one then. So, one person brought this up, but I thought I would actually mention it because I think that it's a very valid point. So, somebody in our Discord has brought up several times that they would like to be able to choose where they spawn into their house.
Oh, they actually they actually have that in Star Wars: The Old Republic, and it's pretty cool. So that's
they
definitely
even said, like, okay, so it might not be custom. Maybe we have like 3 or 4 places we can choose from, so that we can spawn into that place. Because I guess that's because sometimes people build custom stuff and they don't want you to have to use half of their items just to lead to that place where they want to be.
Yeah.
There's also, I guess, the part where, I don't know, you just want to, I don't know, what do you guys think? I've forgotten what I was going to say. You guys carry on.
That's me. So like I said, in Star Wars: The Old Republic, they have this system which is basically that, where there's these terminals, and when you access one of them, it has a thing where it says, do you want players who enter your... houses are called strongholds in SWTOR, but do you want people to enter your house at this spawn point? And it's pretty cool. And I think that's definitely something that Zos should think about, because I think that'd be pretty cool. I mean, obviously for some, there's not really a point in like the inputs, but I get like big ones like Pamper Fang, for example.
Especially in some houses you have more than one entrance as well. Even in places like Ravenhurst, you have the entrance outside and the one inside, but you always come to the one inside, don't you?
Yeah, and I think Pantherfang is the perfect example of that, because they gave us a house where the entryway they were given is by boat to kind of the sewer tunnels or the basement area of this whole castle. But there's literally why it feels a bit weird that one of the options is you go up directly from the kind of sewer dock area straight into the chapel, and then have to go out of it to go out into the castle.
Yeah, to go to your actual house, you have to row a boat, walk through a chapel.
And also the idea of having to block off areas just to be able to lead people where you want them to go. That would cut down on furnishing slots so much if you could just choose which entrance people spawned at.
Yeah, people would literally stop bitching so much about item limits, I think, if we could choose where we spawned. I think that would stop a small amount of the bitching. I mean, I
you were going to say a lot there, weren't you?
I was going to say a lot, but I'd probably still bitch about it. I was just thinking about it. I'd probably still bitch about it. But like, I think it would reduce the bitching.
Absolutely.
I think people should. Yeah, that's an awesome idea. Freddo?
I mean, you.
Yeah.
Unless you want to say, did you want to say something else about it first?
No. That's alright.
Nonheim was talking and I interrupted. Sorry.
It's totally fine. This is why this is going to be edited afterwards, right?
Yeah.
No, mine wasn't important. It was just that even houses like Sleek Creek, you've got two external entryways, and then you've also got the entryway inside the actual house. It would make sense to be able to choose which of those points you spawn at.
Yeah, definitely. Ready?
Yeah, I agree. It's just something I should add. Quality of life feature. I don't see what the problem with adding it is. Go ahead, add it now, or else there'll be consequences.
Do you want to say your next point, Freddie?
Yes. Allow others to place things in houses. Again, I think we talked about this earlier.
Yeah, we did.
Definitely that should be done.
Exactly. It just makes so much sense to be able to have like a furnishing, like a central banking system or whatever for furnishing items, so that you could store them separately from your normal items, but also so that people could actually help you with furnishing.
What I feel is that when we go into our houses, we can have decorator, blah blah blah, person that can come into our house, limited or whatever. I feel like we should be able to have furnishing decorator or something like that, like where a decorator can come into our house and they can place and take stuff, but they have to have the role. So you would have to give them the role. Like
a co-owner.
Yeah, like co-owner. So you'd have to give them the role to be able to do it in your house, and then they can place stuff and take stuff in your house, so they can decorate. I think a lot of people would love this, because some of us, I occasionally decorate houses for other people. To be fair, I'm pretty fucking sporadic about it. So I wouldn't recommend hiring me, but you can if you want. But yeah, I'm pretty sporadic about it. But there are some people that are really good at it, like Lockhart, whose channel I'm going to plug at the end of this video.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, she is amazing, and she does it all the time. She's constantly decorating other people's houses. It's like her second job in a way. So people like her, it's going to be so helpful if she can place her own shit in someone's house and be able to take stuff from it, for instance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything to say about placing stuff in people's houses, or have we covered it?
Not really. I think new to say about it. Yeah, basically furnishing things for people to take out and furnish stuff out. Cool.
Okay, this is a very specific comment. Why isn't Bastian wearing the clothes I gave him in my house?
Oh no, my god. Seriously?
Yeah. Why isn't Bastian wearing the clothes I gave him in my house?
Well, the reason is, from a lore point, is because they're the thing they said is there because they're own characters. Which, I guess, is one of those things where, why do they let us do it when they're not contained pieces?
If you put your own clothes on him, why is he not wearing that in your house?
Yeah, as I'm saying, it could be just a technological thing, really, because House Guest and Companion are two different things, entities.
But they're not. Like,
it's one of those things.
basically, you have this person following you around all the time, so they're your best buddy, and they should be looking like that, not just like some fucking hobo.
I completely agree. We should be able to dress them up. I mean, and people cannot complain about it. The propriety of what some people would put these
Somebody gave an
people in.
excuse as to why they think that they didn't do that, though.
Oh,
Somebody
really?
said that they think they didn't do that because it meant that people would be less likely to buy house guests because they could dress their companion up as whatever they want.
Which is a distinct possibility.
It's
because
possible.
I guess if you wanted, for example, at the moment we've got, is it Narboth? The orc blacksmith.
Blacksmith, yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly,
You
and
could just dress
he's
your guy as
fantastic.
the blacksmith or a fucking maid or whatever you wanted them to, yeah.
Yeah.
They've got
Like,
some exclusive
That would mean you'd
ones.
only have one, though, so surely you would still buy others.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
They should
Again, it's
definitely-
probably a case where that sounds quite likely. Since we know how houses like to operate with that kind of stuff.
But then you
because
would have to
it makes
walk
sense from a
around
financial standpoint.
with a Bastion dressed as a chef constantly then.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know about you. I'd quite like to have my own personal chef running around with me in the world, but
You can, I can just...
but I do wish we could dress. I think I don't wish we could dress like the Miri and Bastion. We can dress Miri and Bastion. I just wish that it linked to what they looked like in our homes.
Yeah, that's what the comment was about. Like, why don't they look how they do in the world in the house?
Even if the trade-off was that it only applied to costumes, because I'd get it if it was to do with they couldn't do it with individually every individual piece of gear that you give
I personally
them.
feel like we should be able to give our companions clothes, personality, a hat, for fuck's sake, Zenimax. Like, we should just be able to do what we want with them, give them their own little vibe in life. But no, you have to go to a way shrine and see 1 million of them standing there, all looking identical.
I mean, the idea of a customizable.
Hairstyles! Oh my god!
I know.
I've got so many hairstyles. I wanna put
This
them on.
this is a bit off topic, but I don't understand why they didn't do this, because in the main
Go on,
quest...
Freddo, tell us
'cause
about
in
your
the-
hairstyle.
In the main quest of ESO, you have companions Abner Farm in a delve. But when
Yeah.
someone else is doing that quest, Abner Farm isn't Abner Farm, they're like Mage Guild Mage. So I don't know why something like that isn't done for the companions, where everyone else's companion looks different, but your companion is Miri.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I don't get why they didn't do that.
Literally, you go to a way shrine and there's 1 million of them.
It doesn't
And
bother
that's
me
one
personally,
thing.
but I get bother.
Yeah.
Freddo, you wanted to talk about hair before we go to the last point. There's a hairstyle you want. Why don't you bring that up?
Release Veya hair, release Veya hair, release Veya hair. There we go, that's my release Veya hair plug.
Can I
Okay.
can I just add one point though to that
Yeah,
that
of
last thing
course, of
about the
course.
companions?
Yeah.
Because this is one thing that I do have to say controversially. World of Warcraft has actually done well in the sense that when you're running around with major lore characters, for example. So, for example, there's parts of the latest expansion where you're running around with Jaina, for example, who's a very recognizable character, but to everyone else, they just look like a generic
Mage.
mage. Exactly. And I don't understand why they couldn't implement a similar system where they have a very generic
You're still going to
look that would look
have
to someone
like
else.
1 million of that generic one standing around anyway, though.
Yeah,
That's
but
true.
I mean, it's the thing is, though, in Northern they do have that, because like I said earlier,
But
Abner
if they
Farm
let us
becomes
give-
mage and other stuff.
No, but if they let us give our companions hairstyles, outfits, personalities, we wouldn't have none of this fucking problem.
I doubt they will, because the whole they're their own character thing.
Ugh.
Fab-
Well,
Yeah.
they need to
So
sort
I'm not gonna
themselves
go
out.
down.
They're not their own character. Bastion is a manslave.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, cancel Elara.
Right, that's it. The
No, he
podcast
wasn't my
over.
name.
It's only been one episode, we're all going to get cancelled. That's probably a new record. Only one. One episode.
But I mean,
All it
the argument that they're their own characters, so you'd be changing too much about them if you gave them a different hairstyle. I don't get it, because you can put, for example, let's take Bastion. You can put him in some interesting, very skimpy armor if you want to, and that would not fit in with his character at all. And
Yeah,
yet
no.
we can do that. So
It
why
does
can't
with
we
his
just change his
character
hair?
for me.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a rabbit hole. It's like, it doesn't really make sense, but I honestly, it can be its own episode itself, to be honest.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
Shall we move to the last
Bastion
point?
podcast incoming later.
The Bastion cast.
Alright.
It's a poor movie sitting in the background.
The last one's going to be a really short one because the last point is sorry, Freddo.
We've already covered that, haven't we?
Furniture
Yeah.
storage, which you've already covered, and Zen and Max have already said that a furnishing bag is not on the tables. There's no way they can do it because there's too many unique objects. So, it's not really
It's
worth
sad.
talking about, but furniture
Feels
storage
bad, man.
is a problem. I wish there was a way they could sort it out because I hate having to buy new houses that I want to use just so that I can store stuff in them.
You know,
Yeah.
it would be interesting if we could buy double houses, like two of each.
Oh, I wish
So
we could do
stock
that.
up for-
I would love to buy like about 20 Hunter's Glade. Zenimax, you would have made about £1,000 off of me if I could buy if I could buy Hunter's Glade more than once.
But you know,
Not
to make it a
easy.
more tempting idea to Zenimax, you could always make it so that you if it's a house that you can buy with gold, that the second one has to be bought with crowns and so on, because then that would
You
be a
can't buy
way
Hunter's
for them
Glade.
to be tempted. You could
You
get
can't buy
like
Hunter's Glade with gold, but I would definitely buy about 5 of them with crowns. Really.
I think another good temptation would be if you got a free Freddo house guest.
Yes,
with
I want a
lots of
Freddo
swearing
house
and controversial opinions.
guest. We need it. Zenimax, give us some Freddo house guest.
Lots of real. I'll give you a sample line. What the fuck are you doing? Your DPS is more shit than fucking Elara's eyebrows.
He's always been about
I mean, the thing is, it's a very specific line that
Freddo's
wouldn't make
always
sense
picking on my
to almost
eyebrows.
everyone.
What's wrong with my
Yeah, maybe it's on
eyebrows?
Elara. Trust me, if you need me, Zedmax, I can record you a lot of lines, though. I was a raid leader back in the day.
Are you thinking you'd like to be able to have editable nicknames for guests, kind of like in Animal
Yeah.
Crossing?
Oh, that
So you
would be
can have guests refer
awesome.
to you however you want
That
them
would be
to.
awesome.
Lord Freddo.
That would be so
They get on
awesome.
the ground, they start
Freddo would
worshipping
call me
wherever I walk.
eyebrows. Oh,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But I
that-
think that's everything,
all-
isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all of our points. So thank you so much, you guys. It was fun. And yeah.
So,
Anyone else want to say anything before we go?
yeah, Normheim, promote your guild.
Yeah,
yes.
sure. I mean, I wasn't prepared for this, but I'm the GM of the guild R2 Aosta Emporium. We are a social crafting leveling guild, and the basic focus is we just want to support each other while enjoying the game the way we want to. So if you want to spend the entirety of the time fishing, if you want to spend your time picking flowers or housing or just questing, however you want to spend your time in the game, we have a community that supports playing the game your own way and not necessarily catering towards just endgame. So yeah, if you're interested, hit us up. I guess we'll have a link in the description below,
Yeah,
maybe.
I'll stick a link. I'll stick a link in the description. Me and Freddo
What
are
about-
both in Nordenheim's guild as well.
Yes, so you can get my autograph.
And I also wanted to just say that Aya Lockhart, he's an amazing decorator and such a lovely, sweet person, has started a YouTube channel lately, and her houses are like literally some of like the most mind-blowing things that you've ever seen in your life. I think she's only got one video at the moment, but I'm gonna plug her channel below as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Please go and subscribe to her. She's only got one video right now, but if you subscribe to her, you won't regret it. Her houses are literally amazing. You will be mind blown by what she uploads later, I assure
They're
you.
not just amazing.
No.
They're amazing.
Yeah,
my
they
God.
are. No, it's no,
I'm
it's
sorry,
no,
Aya.
it's true.
I had to
It's
do
true.
it. Right, the pun was
Alara,
there.
Alara, because of that bad pun, we
No.
have to cut out the entire guild thing. That was terrible.
No, it's true. Honestly, you will be mind blown by her houses. So please subscribe to her. I'm going to stick her channel in the description. But yeah, thank you so much for watching.
And thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
If there's anything else you people would like us to talk about, any topics, and put them in the comment section, or
yeah, or
we
if
both
you have
we
an
both
idea
have
of what
Discords or Twitters. I suppose, and I'll put those in our thing.
yeah,
If you want to
that'd be
follow
good.
us, then you get to see me talk about random shit at like 3 AM in the morning.
And yeah, if you have any idea about what you would like us to do our next podcast about, I think we were thinking of doing it about something and not about ESA, like just something ridiculous, like Cards Against Humanity or
Let's talk about Hell of a Boss.
something.
Although
something
I'd love to talk about Hell of a Boss at some point, 'cause I love that show.
Yeah, we'll do that at some point. So if you have any wishes of what you want us to talk about next, then just let us know. So yeah.
Yes, and actually no, we, I was going to say something that we're going to be in the premiere, but this is the end, so obviously you know that, so that'll be a waste saying
Yeah,
that.
we're going to put on premiere, so yeah, everyone already knows that because they're at the end of the premiere.
Yeah, so that was what you used to say. Well done, me.
All right.
It's a good thing we can edit this podcast, isn't it?
Very good idea.
Yes,
that
it's
you
good
can
it's not
edit it.
live. I think we lost all our viewers by now. Laura would be banned off YouTube. You should have people at the door knocking for her human trafficking of Bastion.
Oh wow. Okay. Yes, Elara, you'll definitely have to cut portions of this.
Okay, so thank you so much for watching.
Yes, thank you indeed. We very much appreciate your time, and we hope to see you next time. Peace out.